Anyway, this is man. I'm telling you, I interpret movies way different than everybody else on this podcast.
This
I'm
synopsis should have
interested
been
to
like
hear
should be
everyone's
like
thought
5
about
minutes
this
max.
film. You know what? There's not a lot to it.
I agree.
5 minutes max. Yeah, it might be it. We'll see. I
Theater
got way
3.
less. I got way less screenshots for this. But yeah, sorry, Davan. Go ahead. Theater 3.
Victoria from 2015, a German film starring Laia Costa, Franz Rogowski, sorry, Frederick Lau, and Barak Yajit, directed by Sebastian Schipper.
Super.
All right, fire up the trailer there, Murphy.
So
Fire it
yeah, let's fire it up to
Fire it up.
Another trailer where they show the ending scene. Huh.
I don't speak German.
What you doing now?
I'm leaving.
Irgendwann gehört der Club uns.
Stay, this club will be ours.
Meine Sonne, nice to meet you. That's Boxer. And that's Blinker.
Birthday. You're Berlin guys then.
I'll show you our world.
Are you stealing? You touch my ass. Say sorry.
It's
With a heart.
sorry.
Sonnen was such a
I have to do Boxer a favor.
It's something bad to do. Oxa! The car is not going on! The car is not going on! I want to go with you.
Was ist denn das für eine Scheiße? Spricht kein Deutsch?
Don't think I'm a bad guy, okay? Mann! Boxer, was ist das für eine Scheiße, Mann?
This is a shit,
Hey,
man.
Scheiße!
One take.
Nobody talks in Germany in the elevator. It's forbidden.
I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna break the rules. I'm glad to be here in Berlin.
Yeah. So I picked this film.
Murphy, I'm glad you did. Is your mind securely fastened?
Yes.
Because I might blow it.
Okay.
This is the best movie we've had on this podcast since Good Night and Good Luck, easily.
Wow. Wow. Really?
Yeah, I loved this movie.
That's
Holy shit.
amazing. That's amazing.
He was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I mean, not for the first 30 minutes, but I wasn't bored by that.
Like I said, the first 30 minutes you could probably skip this film.
I liked the first 30
minutes. It could have, a little, but like the last hour of this film was like I was on the edge of my seat.
What I liked about the first 30 minutes is it was like quietly sinister, because it always seemed like one of these guys was like about to break bad on her, or like. And it never happened. It never happened. It's not like they just kept delaying it. It never happened. Well, I mean, the whole crew breaks bad at one point, but it's like they're kind of forced into a situation by their buddy Boxer. But no, I loved this movie.
So, okay, so just to preface, I ended up picking this film. I was gonna pick Logan Lucky, and we would have had another Soderbergh film. And Jameel's very disappointed that we didn't go with Logan Lucky. And I could have got see it.
I could have got Ocean's 11, Out of Sight, and Logan Lucky, and I would have been like a pig in shit. And for it to be just taken from me.
Pig and shit doesn't exist on this podcast.
To be fair,
we have ups and downs.
I'm also disappointed too, Jaemeel, because the one film I felt like we should have viewed for this episode was Heat. The fact that we didn't review Heat for this is a slap in the face.
The
That
thing
is
is, like,
the heist movie.
I've seen Heat so many times, and
It's
it's
so good.
I don't know. That movie's a bit overplayed.
Thank you,
It's
Davan.
It was on TV all the time. Like, it was just
That's
on
fair.
constantly. Great movie and everything.
But yeah, no, my good friend Doa Zaren, a good friend of mine from Ankara, Turkey, he suggested this film Victoria because he told me about how it's one take from
Thank you,
beginning to
Dozering.
end, doesn't stop, and they did it on
doesn't.
their third try. And I was like, I have to see this. I need to witness this film. And I've been eagerly anticipating this film since we started this podcast. It's been on the list for a long time, and I was very happy with the results.
It felt real. It felt real. Like, other than a bunch of overpaid actors playing like characters, like Out of Sight was. Like,
Oh, dude!
this felt
Oh
real.
my god!
I'm gonna say this.
It was immersed in this world and in this story.
Don't.
Where I wasn't
Okay,
taken out of it by flashbacks in Jennifer Lopez's bad acting.
This movie was immersive. Was it better acted than Out of Sight? No. Out of Sight was far better
It was
acted than
more
this.
realistically acted. These
It
just
was
felt
more
like real
realistically
people.
acted, but that's only because
They felt like real people. No one feels real in Out of Sight.
When you
For
say real
characters.
people, you mean like real as in if I took someone off the street and I gave them a script in their hands, that type of real, sure. But like real person, like a real like living, breathing person, no way, no way.
Oh, the main character just feels like a real naive young woman.
With what? No way, no. She like
She makes some
I
bad
do the-
calls. She makes some bad calls.
she makes some bad calls. She didn't make
So
a
many
right
bad
call for the
calls.
entire film. I like.
Agreed.
He is an
Agreed.
absolute inept character. All the stuff you're talking about Jennifer Lopez's Karen Cisco and how none of that made sense. This movie,
She's a disgrace to the name Cisco, Jaemeel. The name Cisco is meant for greatness and greatness only, and that's not what we got. Okay?
oh my gosh, oh my god, like so the movie.
Any discussion?
sorry, when you start the synopsis, talk about the seizure-inducing opening of this film.
Okay, that was rough.
Oh, like
I'm not
that
gonna
party
lie.
or whatever,
Party.
Yeah.
or wherever they were, a bar or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Club.
club.
It was an underground club, like legitimately underground. But yeah, the opening.
I would say
to
the first
Victoria-
10 minutes was unnecessary. You told me to skip the first 30, Murphy, but I feel like it was just like the
And I
first
told
8
you,
minutes.
I
think,
told you against it.
yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah. You were right.
Well, okay. Before we get too into this, Jaemeel, what are your initial thoughts?
I
Why are you so down on this? I'm
hated this
surprised.
movie. I don't even want to say I
Crazy.
dislike it. I hated this movie. Why?
Wow.
So
Wow.
you know what? I like the idea of doing something because you're really trying to push the envelope in terms of like storytelling. But this didn't need to be one take. Didn't.
No, it didn't.
It was
But
just
honestly, I didn't
'cause.
noticed that it was.
Oh, I
They could
noticed
have
it.
made cuts.
I noticed
and-
it.
I noticed it.
I noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't find it distracting.
You noticed it, like
it wasn't necessary.
you
See, I'm
noticed the little
surprised you
breaks
said
of the
that because-
characters.
Davin, you've said before in episodes where it's like the shaky cam could be too much, and there was a fair amount of shaky cam in this film.
When did I say shaky cam was too much?
I think it was during
Insert
the-
clips of Devin saying shaky cam is too much, please.
I specifically think it was during the 1917 review. You talked about the shaky cam being too much
Maybe
distracting.
1917.
I believe you did say that in 1917.
Yeah.
I did love that movie, but yeah, I mean, there were times in that where I was a bit jumpy because, like, if the scam's shaking so much, it's harder for me to see what's going on, and I don't really like it. I like shaky cam better than spinny cam.
Oh,
Like
God.
directors or people that think they're so clever by spinning the scene around. Like, oh my god.
Like with anything, you can do something in moderation. So if you do a shaky cam in moderation, makes sense. It's jarring. It's supposed to induce a feeling. Same thing with the spinny cam. But if you do it like 8 rotations and you do it multiple times throughout
Yeah.
the movie, loses all intense. All
And
of
there are
its
movies
purpose.
now where they do like 20 rotations on the shaky
Yeah.
or on the spinny cam, and it's like, what are you doing? You're trying to make me puke?
House of the Dead. If you ever see
Did I
that,
do that
movie.
bad? I
It's
haven't.
really
Speaking of
bad.
puking, Victoria's opening scene is strobe inducing, and if you have a seizure, you got to talk to the director about that.
I laughed my
But
ass off though, where she's trying to pick up this bartender, and if you
do
actually
you
see
want to
that
drink?
bartender's face, like that bartender is clearly banging the owner of this bar. It's not going well. He hates being there. Like it's written all over his face, and she's just like, "Hey, where are you from, Sweden?" Like trying to get this conversation going with him, and it's just like, dude, can you not look at this guy's face and see how miserable he is and how he does not want to be there? That made me laugh. Like that is real.
Do you want
I
to
felt like those things
schnapps?
were real.
Like,
Yeah, do you want to
Um,
schnapps?
So yeah, Victoria is a 2015 German drama film directed by Sebastian Schipper. The film stars Lai Costa as Victoria, Frederick Lau as Sonna, Franz Rogowski as Boxer, Barak Yeat as Blinker, and Maximoff as Faust. The film follows the story of Victoria, a young Spanish woman living in Berlin who decides to leave a club at 4 a.m. She's apparently recently new to Berlin, so she's a bit lost. So that's why she's kind of like, "Do you want to hang out?" She seems very like just looking for adventure because she's new to the city, basically.
She
At the
wants
door,
to meet
that's
some real Berlin guys.
yeah, yeah,
Real Berlin
yeah.
guys.
So yeah, she leaves the club at 4 a.m. And at the
she
door,
goes
that's
to the
where she
bathroom and
meets.
she doesn't actually go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah, because
Like
she
long.
tries to like go to the bathroom but cuts the line, and she's probably like, "No, you should." And then she never does go to the bathroom for the next 2 hours.
Which
That's a good point.
That is for like the next day. Yeah, fair enough. On the
Um,
bathroom part.
so yeah, that's where she meets Sonnen and his friends Boxer, Blinker, and Fuss.
you
Who
can't
deny
enter the
entry.
club.
Yeah, they can't enter the club because they're drunken delinquents.
Mhm.
Sonnen asks Victoria to join them for a drink. She sort of hems and haws, but ultimately she agrees. That's
Okay,
when
yes,
they.
Jaemeel, you're right. Her character
It's just
is disastrously like
Naive.
they explain it a bit where like she has never even had a friend, so she's just like desperate for a
how does
friend.
she have keys to this cafe? Like
She
Well,
works
she
there.
works at the cafe, doesn't
She
she?
works at the cafe.
how
Yeah.
can so like if you spend 5 minutes with this person, there's no way I can
Oh,
give
I
her
see.
keys,
Why is
right?
she the key holder? Yeah,
It
fair
makes
enough.
no sense. It's like, is this my car?
But
Oh, you don't have keys to the car. And then she
like she
opens
sees
the
these
door.
guys. Yeah, she sees these guys stealing a car, and
Yeah,
like
start. You
she's
guys
like,
start.
maybe
Is that
that's
your
the clue
car?
you need.
That's
That
your car, is
these
it?
aren't the guys.
Oh.
But
Yeah, this
yeah.
this movie is a perfect example of why you shouldn't, when leaving a club, just randomly hang out with the 4 drunk guys that are trying to invite you out for a good time. This is a clear-cut example of why you shouldn't do these things.
Look,
It's a cautionary tale.
to
okay.
rein in
My
your need for excitement and danger.
my issue with her character, or what I wanted from this character, I wanted the character to be like not naive necessarily, right? But to be playful, but to have an edge to
She
her.
was playful. She was playful.
No, she was more in the like
The
push
persona
over
character.
naive, and not like they kind of hint at it, right? When the
Well,
piano.
she takes her agency when they're like, "No, we're gonna drop you off back at the cafe." And she's just like, "No, I'm going with you guys." Like, eventually, she starts making the
No,
decisions for herself.
they kind of mention it when after the piano's playing, and he talks about the devil, and she's like, oh, I don't know the exact remember the wording, but she's like,
Mephisto
I'm a
Wells
fan.
there.
Yeah, the devil
The
too.
devil, a fan of the
Yeah.
devil too.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
So before
I
we-
think that's
before we
all
jump
three
in-
of our favorite scenes. So why don't we just play that scene?
Did we all three pick that?
We kind of
We
all
picked
three
it.
picked the same scene. So yeah. So anyway,
It
Sonnen
was a
and
great
Victoria.
scene. Great scene.
Sonnen and Victoria try to go to. They want to go buy some beer, but the clerk is sleeping, so they just straight up to the old fashioned. Let's just
Farouk!
pocket a few.
Hey, Farouk!
Farouk, wake up! He won't wake up. I don't know. I don't know if he's sleeping or if he might
He's
actually be
dead.
dead.
I think he's dead.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's dead.
So yeah, Sun decides to walk out slowly with the beer. Then they go to a rooftop where she's like, "All right, let's go hang out on a rooftop," and she gets to know the boys. We get a slight hint of the
Polizei?
police, as they're being a bit rowdy on the streets. Nothing crazy. We get a sort of musical interlude as they lead to the
Multiple musical
rooftop.
interludes.
I felt like there was only
That one was the only bad one though, because it's a musical interlude while it shows them all talking for like 3 minutes. Clearly, whatever that dialogue was would be more interesting than just watching them talk.
or
Would
it
it have
wasn't
been-
interesting at all, and they just were like, "Fuck, it, let's just put some music over this."
And make
Like,
it
that's
more
probably
interesting,
more
but
likely
like
what happened.
that's too long to watch people talk and not hear it.
Yeah, Devin, what was my advice to you? Fast
Yeah,
forward.
skip it. He said skip every scene where like the music plays and no one says anything. He's like just fast forward through all of those.
So yeah, after some chat,
Fair.
Victoria leaves, saying she has to open her workplace cafe later at 7 a.m. And Sonnen escorts her, and at the cafe, she invites him in for some cold cacao.
Okay, can you guys tell me if this is a real thing? One thing that bothers me about Europe's portrayal in movies is movies make it seem like people in Europe never go to sleep. Everyone stays up till 4 or 5 a.m. They're never
Yes.
tired. They go to work the next day. No one enjoys sleep. Like, that's the way Europe seems to be, and Europeans are portrayed in movies. It's like they don't
Okay.
need sleep. Everyone in Europe stays up till 4. Like, yeah.
From my
So-
understanding, German nightlife is quite nightlife up until the dawn, often, and like it's not out of the
I
blue.
like sleep. Maybe
To be fair, I don't know if Murphy, you have experiences with that. Davin, I know you're old, but
I'm old.
I've
never been to
had
Europe.
myself some 7 a.m. walks of shame. Yeah,
well,
And I haven't
like,
slept in 2 years,
where
baby.
where you go to work, from work you go to a party or event, and you're up all night, and then you literally go home, take a shower, and you're off to work again. I've done that a multitude of times.
Yeah, so I work for myself, so I take the next day off.
No, and I paid for it the next day at my desk, or sometimes in well, mostly at my desk. My head being propped up has done wonders for my career throughout many jobs I've had. So
Fair enough.
So yeah, we get to the point in the film where, as Davin mentioned, where it's basically all our favorite scenes. So I did kind of break this up in a bit because I can't play the whole thing, but we're gonna start with the beginning of the scene.
We have
Wait,
the
like the car,
line I like.
you have a car and you have a shop,
Yeah.
and now you're a piano
Yeah,
player.
You're a
My
lying
uncle
piece of
was,
shit. You lie through your
Piano
teeth.
player?
You don't stop lying throughout this
Mozart.
entire movie. Son, and
I
you're a
like how
terrible
she keeps
person.
calling him on
Was,
that shit, though.
An older uncle from me.
She calls him on it, and she's like, "Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
liar,
okay,
but you're
so
kind
I-
of
it's
cute.
just
I
in
kind of
my
want to
blood.
bone
That
you."
was my favorite line. Yeah, yeah.
Something
Uncle
like
for me
that.
is Mozart.
I will see
But my
that.
hands are a little bit
That made me
Yes,
laugh
like
out loud.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uncle
Yeah,
for
I
me.
know how to do this. I'm a professional.
Okay,
you know?
sorry.
Okay, don't give me tips. Okay.
Me tips.
Okay, maybe it's not because I'm not into it right now, but I'll show you something.
Okay,
Just with my eyes closed.
okay.
Other than that line and how great the song she plays is, I wonder if we like this scene for the same reasons. I'll be interested.
It
to
was
see.
just, thank you very much. Thank
So
you.
good.
Thank you for
Your
very good.
face was so deep inside. It was
Yeah,
like,
because it was deep.
okay.
Great scene.
No, and
She's playful, Jaemeel.
yeah.
Okay. Well, my favorite sequence is more of later on.
Later on, which is,
Song?
I believe, about here.
This is killer, too.
Did she actually play this?
No,
Okay.
It doesn't look like it. I was watching her fingers.
Yeah.
no, but the music was live on set. I guess the director was playing it off camera on a different piano, and they were like piping them
Oh, wow.
sound into their ears.
Yeah.
Dude's a good piano player.
She gets lost in a moment like that sequence.
Yeah. And
He's
Because
it's the
of
most human
how
and honest
powerful the
moment.
music is.
I never.
Yeah.
It's his most
I
human
never
and
heard
honest
something
moment
like
in the
this
entire
before,
movie.
Really.
Yeah.
Show me hands. It's like
This is my favorite scene because he was moved by the music and it changed his entire outlook on life, basically.
But it's so quick how they got together so quickly. It's like they're stuck in the back of a,
No, you cannot compare those. They
I
didn't go,
absolutely.
hey, did you see that movie? Oh, let's be in love and follow each other around. Jameel,
Absolutely.
Jameel, you are so wrong on this, bud. Like,
I
you cannot
disagree. I think
compare
you're
those
so
things.
wrong. I think you're so
No,
wrong.
she actually changed his world because he had never heard music like that before. He'd never seen
He's
live.
never heard music
Someone
like that before.
He
His
says
uncle's
he's never
You're
heard
Mozart.
music. That's literally his line. He literally says, "I've never heard music like that before."
It's
He
literally
says that
his
exact
line.
line.
It's literally his line. His
It's not a
line that he's
line.
telling her. It is such
You
a
can
line.
see it on his face that it's true.
I disagree.
Jameel,
Davan,
what happened to your heart? Did it shrivel up into
I
an
would
ice cube?
agree. Like, this is the moment when like she's playing her music hard, and he's just like in pure reflection.
he's
This
blown
is the
away by
only-
it, but it's still a line.
She's pouring her heart out. It changes his heart, and he's from this point on in the movie, he comes off way less sinister and way more sympathetic and more empathetic and more protective of her. It changes his
sympathetic,
entire
empathetic, but he's
personality.
also still a lying piece of shit throughout the entire
And music can do that. That's what's real about it, especially that kind of music, like fucking just virtuoso shit in front of your eyes. Like, man, that was, and then it leads into her story about how she spent
her
all her life
backstory
playing
about how-
piano
yeah.
for them just to tell her like, you're shitty, get out of the conservatory, even though
Which
she's
is,
not shitty, but like.
Okay,
like,
yeah, that whole like I don't think any music conservatory would tell you to get the fuck out because you're shittier than the
No,
other
it's not
up
that they
your
told her to get the fuck out. They
It's
told
that
her
she
she's
won't
not
have a
as good
career.
as
Yeah.
other people
Yeah.
in the conservatory. It's just
Yeah.
like there's
they're just like, you're
like
wasting your
10
time.
famous piano players. You ain't gonna be one of them, is what they're telling.
Yeah, which is kind of insane. I don't think any conservatory would have done that. Like any if there
Some teachers would.
teachers might, but I feel like
They
some
would
instructors
tell someone.
they would keep her.
Yeah.
Basically,
No,
They do
would-
that
they
with
would say-
dancers too.
You know what?
You're
It's
never
like you're
gonna be a
good, but you're
dancer.
not good enough to make this a career. Find another career.
Yeah, they think they're being
Would.
helpful, and in some ways they are. But do your dream as well. If he wants to play piano, man.
But yeah, her backstory reveal was really nice. But yeah, soon the boys come and they want to pick up Sonnen, which Boxer's like, I got to go do this job because basically, while he was in jail, he was getting protection from a mob boss. And Sonnen
Too
and
many
them leave
goldfish.
Victoria alone, which she has about a 30-second to 1 minute scene of her brushing her teeth at best before they're all back and Foose is puking his guts out. This
You mean
kid
the break
got
for the other
wussed.
actors?
Old Foose.
He's too drunk, but Boxer insists there needs to be 4 men. So
They're
he
expecting
demands
4.
Son-
They need 4.
Yeah, they're expecting 4, so he demands Son and asks Victoria to join them. And she ultimately agrees to drive the car that they steal, which, it's like, these guys are stealing vehicles. Do you really want to hang out with them? At
Left
any
and
point
right.
time,
In front
do
of
you
her
feel
workplace, no less.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
in
someone's
front of her
parked
workplace.
out in front
At,
of your
like, what point is-
cafe. And
Yeah, at
you're
what
like-
point is the red flag and you're like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be hanging out with these guys for stealing
She's
vehicles.
accepted the red flags, though. That's
Yeah.
why I don't dislike her character. Like I
Absolutely
dislike
do.
Jennifer Lopez's character. Because she's making bad decisions, but to me they make sense. She is actually just desperate for an adventure and connection, which thinks she's found with Sana, which is the connection part. But
I
she
can
knows
disagree with that
she
a bit.
knows she's making bad decisions, especially like later on. She's like, "No, I want to go with you guys, even after this guy like threatened to keep me while you guys."
Well, yeah,
went
she
and did
pulls
it."
in his
Like,
lot and she's like, "It's a
like,
gun," and he's like, "Keep going." Like that would
she
have been
just
like,
wants
oh,
an adventure and doesn't really care how it ends because she doesn't feel like she has anything. She doesn't have
Moron.
friends. She doesn't have a
Moron.
job she cares about. Doesn't have a career that she doesn't have
needed the city.
dreams. She doesn't know what she wants anymore because her whole life was.
You've developed
geared
this
towards
whole
becoming a
backstory
piano
for this
player.
character.
No, that's all explained in this movie.
It's true. It is explained in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
Jameel,
meet the
you weren't
gangster.
paying attention to this
protected
I was
boxer
paying
in prison.
attention. I made sure I paid attention. I went and I got subtitles for this damn movie.
Yeah, I did too. It was a trick. They meet a gangster protected
For me,
boxer
my
in
stream
prison.
site had it. Whoops, did
and
I say
asked them
streaming?
to-
I mean, I purchased the DVD. Let me just declare right now, I purchased the DVD.
Yes, he didn't rob this
Continue.
movie whatsoever. The boxer in prison, and they asked him to. They meet the gangster who protected boxer in prison and ask them to rob a bank, promising to hold Victoria until they return. So basically, boxer owes this gangster €10,000, and
For a
the
week,
gangster's
not to mention.
per,
So we'll
he,
keep her for the week.
yeah, we'll keep. Well, okay. So basically, what happens is boxer's like, he has to pay the €10,000, and he's like, I can get you it in a week, and he's like, okay, well, we'll hold on to Victoria for a week, which Sonnen disagrees with, and he steps in and he's like, we'll do it tonight. We'll go rob your bank and get you your €10,000. So they practice the
It's
heist,
a
which
lot considering she gets paid €4 an hour at work.
yeah, that's a lot of money. I like this scene because they ended up practicing the bank robbery in this
You don't
this
see that,
underground
really.
lot. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
the reason why I liked it is because one, they're filming and they can't stop filming. Two, they really can't organize a whole bank robbery. So three, how do they get around it? They show the practice run of bank robbery in an empty parking lot and what they'll do. So you have it in your mind so that when they go and actually do the bank robbery, your brain's doing all the like entertainment. You don't actually have to see it, and you're just watching Victoria like in
Yeah,
the car.
I thought that was genius. Like,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
was a
not going
big
to
fan
show
of
it
that choice.
later, yeah.
But while they do the practice run and all that stuff, and they're about to go for it, they're getting drugs, like some sort of like spray. I don't know what that was
Well, it's
about.
cocaine. He says it's
Okay.
cocaine.
Well,
Yeah.
one's cocaine, and the other one is the spray of cocaine
One is
too.
there's another thing. It's called like they called it like Timolin or something. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Timolin and cocaine.
So if they get caught, they can always blame it on the drugs.
Yeah,
But
this
yeah,
was,
like
it was
they,
smart. He's like, if you get caught, you'll do less time. You might as well
Yep.
do it, and it'll give you confidence. He says.
but yeah, no, just the fact that her night's gone from like a 3 to a cautionary 5 to now we're doing cocaine and we're about to rob a bank. She's on a whole level 8 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all tweaked up. Blinker wanted an extra hit, but that extra hit proved to be too much. He had trouble breathing, so he had to pull over, get his shit together, and then they make it to the bank.
Or was he just having anxiety because he didn't want to go do this?
A panic attack.
I'm sure the cocaine
Trying to find a
wasn't
way
helping.
out. He's like, I should have just puked like Foose.
So yeah, basically they wait for the bank teller that they were told would show up, and then they rush in.
Mm-hmm.
We stay with Victoria in the car. She drives around. This scene was fun because the engine just accidentally turns off on the engine.
That made me laugh. Oh shit.
This was the moment of the film where I was on the edge of my seat the most. This was the moment where I was like,
this is so tense.
where the fuck is this gonna go? How
me too.
much more tense can this get? And it compounds from here.
It's just like, bail, just bail. I'm like, just run.
Bail.
The car's dead. Just bail. I was like
there's
screaming
so many
at the
moments of, like,
TV,
urgency.
like, bail.
Yeah. Just get out of there, girl.
Game over,
so basically,
man. It's over.
she accidentally turns the engine off. These guys come back. She starts yelling at Boxer to hotwire it again, and sending everybody into a panic. But they begin to.
You know what's funny about that? Like when they're doing that practice run, he fucks up with the car door, and he says to the scary mobster guy, he's just like, "I won't mess up with the car again."
Mess up, yeah.
And then the car like totally like honks out at the actual robbery. But I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I thought for a time that the car that they gave them, the van, was purposely done that way so that they can get caught.
They didn't give it to them. They stole that in front of her cafe.
No, they're in a van.
No, the van that
they stole in front of her cafe.
Yeah, they stole that previously.
I thought they switched vehicles.
No,
they did. They stole a car first, and they left Foose in that car, and then they went and stole the van in front of her cafe.
Yeah,
and then they got Foose again.
No, that was it. They just
they never got
Foose.
Foose.
They never got Foose.
No, they kept Foose.
No, they never got Foose. They even say later we forgot about Foose.
Yeah,
they're like, he's still in that car. They're like, but he's like, I forgot about Foose.
The way that it was presented, when the cops at the end find their vehicle, there was a person inside that one.
So Yeah, okay, that was one thing when I was doing my plot
Okay.
Did they find
synopsis,
the car or the van?
The
it
van.
was mentioned that Foose was like arrested in the van, but he's never actually in the van. He was like in the cafe and left at the cafe, I think.
That's why I was confused.
Oh, they say they left him in the vehicle. They did say that maybe he was just passed out in the back of that van the whole time.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. All right. So these guys, they just robbed a bank. They're
Yes.
driving, they're trying to regain control. And they're basically driving around in circles, and for whatever reason, in their
They're cooked up.
utter brilliance of things to do after robbing a bank, they decide, let's go back to the club we were at earlier. You know, let's go
That was their
clubbing.
downfall.
Rather
This was
than
the moment
going
of
to
their
find the
downfall.
gangster, give them the money, and then move on.
Just go
And get the
straight
fuck out of that
clubbing.
country. You're in
Yeah,
Europe.
like,
There's another country an hour away. Just go there.
give the money away, keep your 40 euro, everybody gets 10, bail. Get out of there. But no,
Very
let's
generous
go cubbing.
mobster. Like
Very
he's just like, there's
generous
$50,000 you're gonna steal. He's just like, I only want 10. I'm like, I've never heard that in a movie
Which
before. Normally it'd
is
be the
why
other way around. I'll take 40, you take 10.
which is
It's like,
why I felt like I thought it was a setup for a time. When the car stopped, the van stopped working, I'm like, was that a setup? Because it seemed like too sweet of a deal, right?
I guess that's just what he wanted from the protection he offered him. He's just like, you'll fine, but when we get out, you owe me 10 grand or something. And he gave him
It
a
felt
way
like
to get it.
it felt
you know?
like a hook, right? In terms of like, I'm gonna give you this sweetheart deal, right?
Mhm.
Worst case scenario, he gets caught, he ends up back in prison under his thumb, needing his protection again, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good worst case scenario, but I
Right?
don't think that's what he wanted
Best
to
case
happen. I think he
scenario,
just
he
wanted his
comes
10
walking
grand.
towards you with the 50,
And you
right? And you
take it
can
all.
say, "Hey, I'm taking it all," right?
Yeah,
Either way, the gangster wins. What is he gonna do?
which is what Don Cheadle did in the last movie. Like Steve Zahn's like, this is my game. He's just like, no, 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 no. He's like, now this is my plan.
Yeah,
This is my car, and you can get out if you like.
yeah.
He's like,
So that's what I felt was happening during that sequence.
So yeah, these guys go back to the club, where, you know, Sonnen and Victoria, they have a romantic moment. However, Blinker and Big Andy, what's up, baby? Blinker and
very beautiful, according to Big Andy.
Boxer, they decide to get a little erratic and start slinging dong all over the place, which I wasn't expecting. They're just straight butt naked dancing to the club, which they eventually get kicked out of.
But his ass never gets covered up. He's basically carrying her and sticking her head in his ass.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's like, I'm staring at your ass, Boxer.
Staring at your ass, Boxer. Yeah, this cute little Spider-Man kiss going up the ladder and whatnot between Sonnen and Victoria. But yeah, they get kicked out.
Better than that Spider-Man kiss.
Yeah. It's already the sky's bright, and Victoria asks about Foose, whom they've all forgotten is still sleeping.
Yeah, that
in the
is
car.
hilarious. Oh shit.
Yeah, he's still sleeping in the car. And they slowly walk away and see the police have already found the car. They panic and soon get chased by the police. And it becomes very chaotic at this point.
Oh yeah.
Blinker ends up getting shot by the police.
You were making all the wrong decisions here.
Rule number one: split up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
split
exactly.
up. Don't point guns at
Exactly.
cops. Like, so many
I was
bad
yelling that at the
choices.
screen too. I was like, split up.
Yeah. Blinker gets shot.
Especially like
Victoria Sonnen and
her,
Boxer
'cause
hide behind a wall.
the-
They do some.
The bankers
train
only
fire.
saw 3 dudes.
Yeah.
Like she could
Yeah.
have got away at any point.
Well,
But,
technically, yeah. So yeah, they ended up retreating to another wall. Boxer gets shot in the leg, so he gets pretty much left behind at this point. He tells Sonnen and Victoria.
Well, yeah, they already lost old Blinky, Bling Bling Blinky.
Yeah.
Bling bling blinker.
Mm.
As the police advance, Sonnen and Victoria leave Boxer and they head into an apartment building, where on the stairs, Sonnen threatens a man to give them shelter. They enter this apartment.
I did laugh. I did laugh at this.
when he yells at the guy, he's like, "You're not supposed to let me in here if there's a baby in here."
Yeah, I
It's like,
did
dude,
laugh.
you put a gun to his head and said, "Take me to your apartment." It's
Yeah,
like, he's like, "You dick! You let me in here when there's a baby in here."
yeah.
That
Sonnen's
was pretty
wild at
funny.
this point.
I did
right?
laugh. I did laugh at that.
Oh yeah. I will
Police
say I don't
surrounding the
like them use. I
building.
never like when they use babies as a plot device since I became a father of a baby. So like
Well,
any pointless
Devin, I
thing
will
where
tell
they're
you as someone
endangering
who
a
does.
baby, I did not enjoy it.
Devin, I'll tell you as someone who does not have a child, I don't
Yeah,
like it either.
same thing. Yeah,
I
don't
wasn't.
like
A,
it.
I
like
wasn't
it.
a big fan of the choices here, but I mean, they were choices that were made, and those choices were that
That was my problem with that anime movie, whereas the baby was just
Oh, Tokyo Godfathers.
yeah.
Tokyo
It was just about
Godfathers.
endangering a baby that entire movie. Like I wasn't there for it.
That movie was good. Anyway, so yeah, the police surround the building. Victoria talks the man's wife into borrowing their baby, and
Oh,
she
I
and
like it.
Sonnen
Hawks.
take the baby and get past.
This is
the
when I
police.
stopped cheering for them to get away. I'm like, if you're gonna take this baby, I hope.
Wait,
the
you
cops
were
shoot
cheering
you.
for them to get away like all this time?
Yeah, I liked those two. I wanted them to get away from the cops. I really did.
Oh,
Like
Lord.
they were manipulated. Those two were mostly manipulated by the situation, by their friend Boxer and the mobster guy. She made the horrible decision to keep going along with it, but I wanted them to get away. Yeah, these two, I like them. They're a nice young couple.
So yeah, Sonnen and Victoria use the baby to get past the police. They're stopped in the
So
hallway.
they stole the
and-
baby.
So yeah, no, they borrowed the baby, and when they borrowed the baby, they got out the door. They did. She did leave the baby at the store across the street, as Victoria promised, and they ultimately called a taxi.
This is the one thing I didn't like. If they have this street blocked off, which they seem to have the entire neighborhood blocked off
Yeah.
with cops, they're
They're
telling
not
people to
letting a
stay in their
taxi,
buildings.
Yeah.
How's the cab still? How do you wave a cab in this situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was the big plot hole in the movie for me.
There's a handful of them, but yeah, Victoria and Sonnen head to the hotel where Sonnen ultimately, and this is actually a scene where you see the blood on his fingertips, so you get the hint that he's been shot in the whole thing. But yeah,
He hid that for a long time. Like he must
did.
have been in excruciating pain. And
yeah.
he was hiding that the whole time.
He was worried that they didn't have a passport, but she's like, "Give me the money. I've got a plan." So she goes and she changes again, cleans up.
So was it a
becomes stoic.
hostel?
This is a
No,
hotel.
it's a hotel, a fancy
I
hotel.
know, but like I've never heard.
I don't
of a
know
hotel
what
needing-
story. Yeah, I don't know what story she gave them to actually.
I wanted to hear that
a
story.
key.
And I thought we were gonna get that story, so I was quite disappointed when she came back.
Yeah,
No,
it
but
was
I
just,
mean,
like
like,
close up on him.
Do you know that if hotels in Europe require you to have a passport to book a room?
Yes.
It was odd.
You need
like,
a passport
you need ID.
or some
You don't
sort
need
of
a
ID or
passport,
credit
dude.
card. Yeah, you
Well,
gotta have
ID,
some
yeah,
sort
you
so I
need a credit
understand.
card. Yeah. But she might have just walked up and dropped a friggin' handful of bills on, or like a stack of bills on the desk, and be
Well,
like,
yeah, if you put
whatever.
enough down deposit, they'll
Yeah.
just be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So yeah,
Money
she
still
gets the
talks.
idea that he's basically bleeding and all that stuff. So he's been shot. He basically tells Victoria, take the money and leave, head back to Spain. And he dies, and then she proceeds to have the most epic meltdown of her life. She just went through the most hysterical evening she could ever, and just goes through the most powerful meltdown.
And you're coming down off drugs. Like
Coming
she's
down
coming
off drugs.
Yep.
She's brought a man to basically die in this bed. She's got her DNA, her snot, her tears going all over the place. Calls the ambulance from the room. Is like, send an ambulance, and then proceeds to just bawl and cry and hang out here for way too long. This is when I was screaming at the movie. I'm just like, leave, woman. Why are you crying over this lying son of a bitch that you knew for less than fucking 8 hours? Like, yeah, you guys had some moments, but like, you shouldn't be this hysterical over this. You just grab the money and go. Just leave. And she ultimately does.
I think that's also like the realization of everything that has happened. She just took part in like the death of 3 people, and like that's a lot. She went from just playing piano for like 7 hours a day and doing not much else to all this
running a
crazy
cafe
shit.
to
That's a
doing
lot.
drugs and
Yeah.
watching men die. And yeah, she ultimately walks out in the
Shootouts
streets of
with
Berlin,
cops.
and that's the end of the movie. She walks away with the stolen money, and who knows what she did. But yeah, that's
All right.
Victoria in
Well.
a nutshell.
plot storytelling. Why don't you go first, Jaemeel?
No.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No. No is
To
no. No is
me,
my answer. No.
okay.
No.
To
Like,
me,
okay.
I liked the plot and storytelling of this. The one cut thing I didn't really notice it, to be honest. It just felt like a movie that kept a good pace. Like the going from like you obviously have to connect all your scenes concretely to do a single take movie. I just didn't find any of that felt forced. Like everything just felt like it moved to the next thing the way it naturally would. Like, she's like, I want to go to work now. They go to work. Like, I don't know. It just felt like a regular, not a regular day, obviously, but it actually felt like a real amount of that time that didn't seem jarring. Like we have to do all these weird things to make it flow in that way.
I feel like if this was done with, let's say, a different set of hands, because I don't want to say more care, because I know that there's a lot of work and effort that was put into this film. I don't want to say better actors because I know that they tried their
Jennifer
best.
Lopez.
Davan. Okay. I just felt like, okay, if you put the plot into another presentation of items, I think that I could have found something that I consistently a narrative that I enjoyed and I was swept up into it. But a lot of this, I just didn't care what was happening throughout this picture.
Interesting. I was on the edge of my seat, and I just found like if you would have taken this movie and given it to a major studio, it would have been completely
I didn't say
ruined.
major
It
studio.
needed it. No, but like if if you would have just thrown money at this, it would have made it worse. The
But I
fact
think
that it
that's
was
the same.
all
I think you could say that to any storyline, story picture. I'm talking about if you put this in the hands of like an actual proper director, right? Right. I'm
the
not going to say
director was
Sonnenberg because
good.
we've already just covered
I-
that just
skilled.
recently.
Okay,
But I mean,
okay,
like,
I think this was better directed than Out of Sight. Like it didn't have
dude,
foreshadowing till the cows come
no.
home. It didn't have flashbacks.
I
It
think
didn't
what
have like all
ultimately.
these
But you're
things that were
talking about
jarring and
elements
took me
of
out of the movie.
storytelling that you don't like, and I'm not.
Yes,
I'm
this
not,
didn't have
this-
any that I didn't like.
Okay, I think
Yes,
ultimately
I
what
agree
this
with that,
movie
Nathan.
sacrificed from, realistically, it's really well done plot and storytelling wise. I think the directing's done really well for the limitations in which it was filmed. Okay,
Yes.
this movie could have benefited from a larger budget for which they could have built practical sets and hired extras.
wasn't
and
practical
been
about
more
these
grander.
sets.
Okay,
What
Well,
wasn't
no, all
practical
the
about
sets.
these
No. What I mean by practical sets is, as opposed to what they did, which was run literally through the streets of Berlin, right?
But
is they
that's
could
part of the
have-
good
Gave it its
stuff of it.
realism. That's
That's a good
that's
thing.
why
I'm not-
that's why I say more money would have destroyed this movie. George
No,
Clooney and big actors would have destroyed this movie.
no,
This
it
movie needed
wouldn't.
to be done
It would
by
not.
No,
a bunch
I'm
of
not
people
saying
you've
it
never
needed
seen
bigger
before.
actors, Davin. I'm not saying it needed bigger actors. I'm saying if it had a larger budget in which it could have had expanded set pieces within Berlin, like Berlin allowed them to probably film at certain
Because
areas.
this all this happens in like a couple. Yeah, it's a very
much a guerrilla
tight,
filming.
very tight area that they
Skeleton
filmed in.
crew, right? It was a skeleton
That
crew in a
again
single
adds
night
to the
in a
realism.
couple blocks. No,
They
it adds
live
to
in
the
this
realism,
neighborhood.
but
Everything
but
happens
the
in
thing
this
is,
one neighborhood.
it adds to the realism. But the thing is, the film is very sort of bare bones in the sense that they're using improvisation to fill in a lot of the gaps, and they could have, if they had a bigger budget and slightly more room to run around, they probably would have found gaps to fill in that would have made the story maybe a bit more cohesive.
But I don't think that a bigger budget necessarily is. I don't think it is a solve that has to be used. Right? They could have just. It didn't need to be a single take. It could have been like the same movie, and they could have progressed or moved, expanded the area a little bit more, especially when they're driving away, right? As opposed to it feeling like a tiny box, right?
Again,
like
this is
that
where budget would have come
claustrophobic
in.
kind of feel
Yeah.
that it
If they had more
But,
budget,
like-
they probably could have tried to like film it in multiple takes and cuts and stuff like that. But again,
Yeah,
probably
it didn't
wasn't.
necessarily, and that's not more of a budget. That just means like they disregard this concept and they decide to, film over the course of 2 months as opposed to,
The
really
thing
try
is,
to narrow it down.
I don't
weeks.
think they wanted to disregard the concept because I'll touch upon it in the movie morsels, but the entire concept of the movie did need to be one take because it was inspired by a stage play that was sort of done in like one take and essentially. So that was the inspiration. So he was gonna do a one take film regardless. I think he would have had a better visual looking one take film if he had more budget to expand upon and fill in the things, because there was a 5-minute scene where it was just music riding on a bike, just those were the gaps.
Scenes were the worst.
Yeah, right. Those
The
are the
music
gaps
video
that needed
scenes were the
filling.
worst.
Yeah.
See, I partially agree with you guys. I agree it didn't need to be one take, but I also didn't feel like that one take. Again, I didn't notice it. I didn't find it a detriment to the movie.
It's definitely
And like the only part, and I didn't even notice it when we watched it, but you guys mentioned it tonight. She should have gone pee, and if there were cuts, that could have happened.
I'm
But,
sorry,
like-
things like that just like stick in my head.
Yeah, but like
I
that,
don't know,
I
man.
didn't
Some
even
women
notice,
have iron
but,
bladders, though. Like some women just have iron bladders; they'll hold it forever.
Well, they're superhuman.
It's
They
just
can
no. It's
shoot
just a
out people.
sequence. It's a sequence where it feels like it's going to be revisited somehow, right? If you see someone walk into the bathroom that they need to go to the bathroom, and then they don't go to the bathroom, right? In the back of your head,
Such a small thing,
but that's just how my mind works. I know it, right? And I'm like, when is she going to go to the bathroom, right? It's just in my head. I know that.
But what if when she went to butt in line to get into the bathroom, the person she butt in front of had seen the same movie as her? that would have made it better, right? Anyway,
No,
which performance?
Only if they were stuck in the same stall together for about 2 hours and talked about
Like 2 seconds. But yeah, which performance would you hold up? I like the two leads the most. Yeah, she was great, and I liked the Sonic guy. He was good.
Yeah, he was played
Boxer.
Because he was
Frederick Lau.
sinister early, and then like that, he did a lot of things, like that scene where he was moved by the music and stuff. He was quite good.
Boxer's performance.
Boxer, yeah, yeah.
Boxer.
He was.
That's
He
interesting.
seemed like that instigating sort of rough dog type. You definitely pulled it through.
Sensitive, but you
yeah.
can see that he's like that menace behind his eyes. If it like, okay, I'm gonna get on my
you can.
Davin hat. If this was a if this was a modern movie, that'd play he'd be played by Vinnie Jones, and he'd just be this brooding, character, no type of sensitivity. Like when you see him dancing and when
or
he's
Jason Statham.
Oh God. Yeah, right?
He'd be played by Jason Statham.
The way he's like shy when talking to Victoria initially, it's great. A great juxtaposition in comparison when you see him when they're at the cafe and they're like, I need the 4 people. It's just like you see
He's
the
freaking
change of
out.
switch. Yeah.
Because he's scared shitless.
Yeah.
For me, it's
He's-
like
he's-
Costa. She held the film together. Like she's the main role. Her ability, I think the shine in her ability is more so in the end of the film, how she sort of flips almost in an instant, especially in the bathroom where she changes, where she goes from like a naive person to like she's thinking quick and she's going with
She's
ideas
crazy
that get them out of
quick
it.
on her feet.
Yeah, quick
Like,
on her feet. Super
she comes
quick
up
on
with
her
the
feet.
baby idea, which is the only thing that saved her. And like,
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't have put
Yeah.
themselves
I
in that
hated it.
position in the first place.
I hated it. But
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
They took all the
You know,
wrong
she shouldn't
turns.
have
He's
been
like,
in a
go
lot of
left here. I'm like,
situations.
go left here, you fool. Like, you need to like. Anyway, I was like planning routes for them through the trees and shit, but they weren't listening.
But
like,
yeah, no, she held it, and just that like the complete meltdown. Like, I admit the meltdown at the end went on probably a minute or two longer than I needed to. Like I was like,
I
okay, you
skipped a
can
minute
stop.
of it, to be honest. Of the
I was like,
meltdown.
you gotta
But only
stop
because
crying and leave.
I was running
You
out of
have
time.
to stop crying and leave.
When did you
You
finish
gotta
this
grab
movie?
the money and go.
2 minutes before we started.
You had an extra week, man.
It doesn't matter.
I know, but that made me feel like I had all kinds of time.
Murphy, you knew when I finished this movie because I messaged you in the morning when I finished it.
Yes.
5 a.m. in the
like-
morning.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
both said you were waiting for it to get dark, and then you were gonna watch it.
Well, I watched it. It was like 5 or 6 p.m. that night before last night or whatever, and I watched it, and I was like, okay, cool. I tried to watch it in the morning, but I couldn't get past 20 minutes because it was just so dark. I was like, I can't see what's going on.
I had to watch I had to watch a show and do a podcast, and then
Yeah. Setting aesthetic.
Setting
for
aesthetic?
me,
good.
yeah.
It felt real. The setting aesthetic was real because it was. They were just in Berlin.
And
It was all
that's
I
why
like things that look like sets, and
Yeah.
nothing was a set, so nothing looked like.
and
a set.
that's why I'm despite my misgivings, right? That is the locations that they use are really good. A lot, like you compare that to like Pink Panther, where everything
Everything
just
looked
seems like
real.
a set except outside, right?
Yeah. And even
everything
then, sometimes
you feel like you can put, if you can dip your finger into each scene, you can probably get the grime off of the ground, right? In this movie, it's really good.
You could smell the drugs on their wrist.
Yeah, like I can like that sound when you lift the key guard up off of the piano. I've always hated that sound because when you lift that guard off the keys, it speeds up and it always bangs hard against the inside, and I'm always like, so like yeah, that felt real to me. I'm like I winced. He opens up the thing. I'm like.
Not so fast.
Yeah, like ooh, that's a nice piano there. Go easy, but that's just how they open, and they're always like that. Yeah, it's hard wood. It's real wood.
Yep.
Well-made pieces. All right, well, you know what it's time for.
Movie morsels for Victoria 2015. There aren't a lot because it's generally the case with the modern movies, but here's we go. The film was shot entirely in one take, as we all know, which presented significant challenges for the cast and crew. They had to rehearse the entire film multiple times to ensure that everything went smoothly on the day of shooting. It took 3 attempts to film the movie. The take used for the final cut was the third take and completed from 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. on April 27th, 2014.
Jesus, they even did it in the exact time they said they were
to get the lights.
In the
wow.
Kreuzberg and Mitte neighborhoods of Germany. The original screenplay was very short. It was only 12 pages. Since a large part of the dialogue was improvised because of this, the writers are credited for story and not for screenplay. So that explains a lot.
You don't need famous actors for this because they're just probably playing versions of themselves. They're just playing kind of regular people most of the time. They're like joking around with their friends and that kind of stuff. But if like a lot of that dialogue was improvised, it was very well done because it felt like real conversations. It didn't feel like weird forced.
Yeah, no, it was very on point for like
like
awkward flirting conversations and like stepping over, and it's basically what it was. The whole film was improvised,
Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with that. My question was going to be, do you think every time a character was off screen, they were just like cramming their lines?
No, they're probably taking a rest.
Yeah,
and getting ready.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. Just like the other famous one-take film, Russian Ark, Victoria was to be filmed only 3 times. In the case of both films, this succeeded with the third and last take. So Victoria and Russian Ark both succeeded their one-take films on the third take. I've never heard of Russian Ark prior today, so I have to do some research on this. Yeah,
well, maybe that's the one Tiffany was telling me about. She went to film school and they had to watch a one-take movie, and she said it wasn't this one. So maybe
the one-take film that I always think of is isn't Time Code.
Oh, that one. I
on
don't
that
know
one
Russian
either.
art either.
This fact blew my mind, and I'm really disappointed that this is the case. Despite its positive reviews, this movie was disqualified for an Academy Award nomination in the Best Foreign Language Film category due to its large amount of English dialogue.
Yup.
Ooh.
that
You know
seems
what? I
about
don't
right.
care because award ceremonies are.
No, but like,
You buy those, right? Like you actually just buy a nomination. That's real.
yes and no. But
Yes, yes,
no,
and
yes
yes,
and no, yes and
yes,
no.
and yes.
Davin, you don't necessarily use money to win an Oscar or to get nominated. You use other things like sentimentality is one that is heavily
No,
used.
no. Studios have to nominate you for like if your movie was done by Paramount, Paramount has to put you up for it.
Yes.
And they choose who to put up. So it's not like the best
No,
person
you're
gets it. It's just like
submitting. You're
the it's
submitting a film.
yeah,
You're submitting a film, right?
or an actor or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, like that's
But
weird and
for
not
them
how
to
those
actually
things
get
work.
nominated, right? It's voted by, and the vote is usually like really by its merit, by money, and in terms of its campaign through like, oh, come to our screening and we'll lavish you with gifts, and we'll have you meet stars and other people that we'll put in front. Or you start seeing the campaign. Is it Leo's year? Right? This is Leo's turn,
Yeah,
right?
like
It's Leo's
that's what I
time.
mean. It's all
All
this
those things.
weird
But I'm
meme
just saying it's
popularity
not just
contest.
money. There's other forms of manipulation.
No, the money thing I was actually thinking of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Those you just buy for
Oh yeah,
50
that's
grand.
just straight up bought. That's straight up bought.
Straight up 50 grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
One
film
Which
day
was
is
we'll
funny.
shot
get
They
you
stole
one.
enough to buy. They could have bought
Could've
Victoria
bought
a
it.
star on the Walk of Fame.
Yes,
So
sorry,
the
continue.
film was shot using only available light, which meant that the filmmakers had to carefully plan the timing of each shot to take advantage of the natural lighting conditions, which is really hard to do.
Well done, too. They did that well. Really well.
Leigh Costa, who plays Victoria, had to learn all of her lines in both German and English. She also had
Which is funny because she
to-
doesn't speak German in this movie.
She
She
little bit,
constantly
not a
says she
lot.
can't speak German in this
Yeah.
movie. She's like, I don't
She
speak
also had to
German.
memorize the entire 2-hour-long script as there were no breaks in filming.
They said there was no script. It was like 12
Yeah,
pages.
12.
Make up your mind, Murphy.
It said this memorized the entire 2-hour-long script. It was 12 pages. The film director Sebastian Schipper was inspired to make the film after watching a one-take stage play. He believed that the format could be adapted to film and wanted to push the boundaries of what was possible in cinema, and he did so.
See, I like that. I like it. To me, it doesn't. You can do fake cuts. It doesn't have to be one take. But I like the idea of a movie that just the time that passes in the movie is the exact amount of time of the movie. I like that idea. And that made it more tense and kept me on the edge of the seat more.
So the last two here. The film's climactic bank heist scene was shot on location in a real bank
robbery.
with real security guards who were unaware they were part of a film shoot.
What?
That's
Yeah.
dumb. That is
Yeah.
just
You don't even
straight up
see
dumb.
inside the bank, though.
Yeah.
Like,
In the
running
scene-
into a bank with fake guns is crazy.
It's
Like,
insane.
What?
That's madness.
I
In
don't
the
think we need
scene-
verification of that morsel. That sounds insane that you would do that.
It was. I mean, it was on IMDb. It was just, in the
That's
scene,
Amazon
right,
propaganda, dude.
in the
Amazon
scene
props.
right after the bank robbery, Leigh Costa actually forgot where to drive and takes the wrong turn. Everyone's outburst of panic in the car is completely genuine, as they were risking filming crew members and thus ruining the whole take. Even the director Sebastian Schipper,
that.
who was lying in the trunk of the car, started screaming directions in sheer panic. His screaming was
Why
later
the fuck was he
removed
in the trunk of the car?
during audio editing. The car actually ended up driving past crew members, but none of them can be seen thanks to the cameraman who reacted quickly by filming from a much lower angle so as to not have any windows in the frame. So
See, I thought there was a time where they all tell her to turn left and she turns right. But, well,
Yeah,
that's
she
the same
just
way.
got
She messes up the
confused.
directions.
Yeah, she messed up the
Yeah.
directions when she was driving, so they were like all freaking out. So yeah, cinematography by Sturla Brandt Grovlin, and it's edited now, not edited per se, but the audio editor who helped blend the movie was Olivia Neergård Holm, and the music was by Nils Fromm. It was a release date of February 7th, 2019 at Berlin International Film Festival, and was released on June 11th, 2019 in Germany. Running time was 138 minutes. It was a budget of €444,000 with a box office of €6.1 million. So it was really a smash success.
Awesome. It deserved to be. Rewatchability. I mean, for me, with most rewatchabilities, I'd say the same thing. Sure, in like 10 years or something. But like, not like Doctor Strangelove, which I wanted to watch immediately after I finished watching it again. But this one, I'd come back to it in some time, likely. It's the kind of movie I'd like to show somebody who hasn't seen it. I'd be like, you should watch this movie. This is cool, and I'll watch it with you.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I would want to rewatch it again just for the technical aspects, as somebody who likes to study film and the production of film and stuff like that. I would definitely rewatch it again, just sort of like, just see the seams, if any, and like they did a really good job of hiding them. It was really
Won't be as tense. It'll lose some tension on the rewatch.
It's they say it's like one of those. It's one of the 1,001 movies you need to watch before you die. It's one of those movies you got to watch.
Yeah, agreed.
No. But how I would watch it again, I would watch it with audio commentary. I would watch the cut version, which they did first. Right? They made a cut version of the film before they did the full
version with cuts.
Yeah,
all through it.
Yeah, so I would watch that. I would watch the first two other cuts.
Where she goes to the bathroom.
I would watch the first two cuts. When you're looking up the details about this movie, they said the first cut was bad because everyone was very cautious. The second cut was really bad because everyone went crazy trying to not be cautious. So I wouldn't mind seeing these other two versions of it, right? Because it would be different enough that I would be like, where's the difference? Like it'd be like I would be drawn into that.
Them.
Yeah. So
agreed.
I would definitely be interested in a commentary.
If you ever could get hold of such a thing. Pause a second. Let me clarify. I am not mad that I watched this film. Okay.
Does it hold up? For me, it does. I swear this is the most enjoyment I've had out of a movie on this podcast since Good Night and Good Luck, which I think was only 2 episodes ago, but also George Clooney.
Well, I'm surprised that this is a holdup for you, Davan. Honestly, when I was watching this, I'm like, this is going to be a shaky movie. He's not going to like it. It's going to be too little something.
Tense. It was super tense.
It was super tense.
Like, I was yelling at the screen. If the movie has me yelling at the screen, it's a good movie.
I was yelling at the screen for other reasons.
Either way, the movie got us yelling at the screen, so it did its job.
Okay. Oh, so I'm the hold up in terms of holding up. I don't want to give in. I don't want to give in to peer pressure, mind you. I don't like this movie. I don't, and I've made it.
I'm shocked by that. I am shocked.
I'm the type of person I will like something unless I don't like it, and I don't like this movie. I understand and appreciate the technical aspects and the skill and effort that is presented in this, but when I think of Hold Up, I think of a movie that not just to revisit, but is something that should be held in high regard. And I can't say it with this movie, so I'm gonna say no.
I don't know how you can hold in high regard anything with Jennifer Lopez in it.
You have not seen Hustlers. Have you not seen Selena?
I haven't. No.
Made in Manhattan?
No, if it says starring Jennifer Lopez, I don't watch it.
The
She's
Cell?
not an actress. Oh, I saw The
Jersey
Cell.
Girl?
I mean, that's The Cell's not a good movie.
The Cell's not a good movie.
No,
I
she's not
disagree.
good
I was
in
gonna
it.
just I was
She's
gonna
I
keep naming
disagree.
movies.
Are we shit talking
every line
The Cell?
I've ever heard her deliver in a movie? She sounds like she's reading it. Like she's not
The
an
Cell
actress.
is a great
Sorry,
movie. Vincent D'Onofrio
Jennifer
rocks
Lopez
in
is
that
Wait,
movie.
not
hold
an
on.
actress.
Murphy, no, stop.
Yes, The Cell is
Stop.
a great movie.
It's
Yes,
not.
I love that director. The Cell and The
You can
Fall are
love the
some of the most
director.
beautifully made movies ever.
The
What?
Cell is gorgeous.
All right,
The
we're
Cell
ending
is
this
gorgeous,
movie.
but,
Heist movie rankings. For me, it's Victoria, Out of Sight, The Pink Panther.
For me, it's Out of Sight, Victoria, and the Pink Panther.
you know what I'm gonna say. So we
Same
can
as
skip that.
Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jaemeel, even though you ruined Victoria being an A movie,
I'm
which it deserved
sorry.
to be.
I'm sorry. Look, it
Um,
is
I
it
even
is
gave your
just
shitty Jennifer Lopez movie an A, but,
because
fine.
you liked it. You did.
Yeah, I'm just not her. Again, I hated a third of that movie, but I did really quite enjoy the other 2/3.
I can't wait. I would love to hear your feelings about others, Leonard Soderbergh team ups, or even more Leonard films. I know
Well,
you
I
like
love
Rum Punch.
Jackie Brown is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown is, I think, by
Jackie
far
Brown
the
is one of
best
my all-time
Tarantino
favorites.
movie.
I honestly, the fact that there is a story connection with just the slightest little
Michael Keaton.
Keaton story connection between Jackie
Keaton
Brown
should have showed
really
up in
upped the
Victoria.
movie for me. You know what? If
Maybe
Ray
snort
Nicoletta
now.
showed up in Victoria,
Jaemeel would have
been
loved
like,
it.
Slow clap, slow clap. That would
As
have
an
been the
inept,
most.
he's
Ray
inept in
Nicoletta
all
busts
movies.
them. Oh,
Yeah.
movies.
Anyways,
over. Perfect.
He could have been the stupid cop that let them call a taxi. Or that bartender she was hitting on earlier. But
okay. Please put Victoria high up there.
well, look, I'm sharing the thing here. Here's the episodes. And yes, I'm adding Victoria to the B section. Thanks, Jaemeel.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I love you, and I'm glad you're on the show. Jaemeel
Okay.
was offered a full-time spare change segment on this show, by the way. Turned it down. Said he didn't have time for the likes of us.
Hey,
He
just
didn't say
how
that.
long
He
it
didn't
takes
say
for
that.
me to respond to anyone. I'm slow on
But
the.
there's our movies. I think we've got most of these correct.
Can you
have
do
any
me a
nitpicks
favor?
with this list? Yeah.
I do. I have a disagreement. Can you put Victoria on the top of the B section?
No.
No.
What do you?
Because this is in chronological order.
Okay.
When we,
But it would be on the top of the B section if I
Well,
had.
we have discussed like I want to do a season-ending episode where we don't cover any new movies. We just talk about the movies that we saw during
we can
season
rank
1
them?
after our 20th episode. No, but we can discuss because we've often bring up, like this is a B plus and this is a B minus. We can just discuss these kinds of things. And Jaemeel, I want you on the season finale episode.
Where I bring all my misgivings from previous episodes.
Exactly.
Because I do watch all the episodes.
Exactly. You and Andre both. So I kind of want him on that episode too.
It's gonna be
Andre's going to come after me and disagree. He's like, Victoria is such a great film.
No, look, Andre
I would
loves
love to
every
hear
movie.
Andre's thoughts on Victoria.
Andre is,
honestly,
you won't find anyone more super positive about movies because he just appreciates that people make them. So he basically loves every movie.
I would love.
I'm the
thoughts on
opposite. I have a
Victoria.
very critical mind, and
I would never
that's
mention Victoria
the delight.
my worst, like my most hated films. It's nowhere near that.
And that wasn't a slight, Andre. I think that's a great quality to have, as I know you're listening. So that was not a slight.
One of my worst, the movies I hate the most is "I'll Be Home for Christmas" was it Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Don't watch that film. Okay.
No, I think it's the worst Christmas movie ever that people seem to like. That one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Jingle All the Way?
Christmas movie.
Jingle
I think
All
that's
the
the
Way?
worst. Actually, the worst movie I've ever seen. I only saw it for the first time last year, and I thought it was unwatchable.
Wow. Not a Sinbad fan.
Yeah.
No, not as an actor. Or
What? You,
no,
well,
not as
haven't
anything. Sinbad's
Paul
not
White's
funny
in
as a
that movie,
stand-up
man.
either, actually.
I disagree. I
Big
think he
Show's
was
in
good
that
in a
movie.
different world. Sorry?
Big Show's in that movie.
Jingle All the Way?
Yeah.
No, man, that was way
Yeah,
before his
he
time.
plays the giant Santa Claus.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Credit is Paul White. I did not help
Well-
this episode be under 3 hours. I apologize.
No. Well, look,
I think this might be our longest episode yet.
it is. Yeah, it is.
I
But
was
there you have it,
trying.
people.
I was like, okay, first one's under 50 minutes. We're gonna get it. And derailed, and okay. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna be over 3 for this one.
Dude,
Surprise, motherfucker.
I love Dokes.
Oh yeah, Dokes is the best.
Best addition to the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Murphy brought that and played it like 6 times one episode, so I'm just keeping it going.
Oh, yes.
Did you know we're part of a united federation of podcasts?
A federation of podcasts, you say?
Yes.
I say.
What's the name of the site? What's the address of the site?
UFpodcast.com.
Okay.
What?
I want to see if Davan, you know it.
Oh, jeez. What do you think's running this empire? Anyway, Dave.
Dave made her.
Yeah, well, we are. And in this empire, you can see X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. We recently had an interview with Len Yulee, which is fantastic, by the way. Even if you don't know the name Len Yulee, you know his work. He worked on all the shit we loved in the 90s. Yes. All the cartoons. He
all
was
the
the
X-Goons
co-creator of
love
the
it.
character Bonkers. He co-created Bonkers. Yeah, man, Bonkers, yeah, totally nuts.
X-Goons,
you know,
there's a special contest. You should go on Facebook and sign up
Yes.
for it.
Yep. We want to hear your wildest, craziest, most intriguing prediction for X-Men 97. And the winner will get the book that
Something
is here somewhere. There it is. One sec.
Just in the depths
Lady
of this
Sherlock.
cavern.
Lady Sherlock and the Circle of the Smiling Dead by former guest of the show, Brooks Wachtel. Haven't read it yet because I'm a slow reader, but I'm gonna. Probably that's what I'll read when I'm sitting waiting for the baby to be born at the hospital. Last time I was waiting for a baby to be born, I read Powers of X or Dawn of X and Powers of 10. Great comics. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, check that out, and we have an interview coming up soon with the voice of Cable, Lawrence Bain. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
And, we're coming to a close on season 4, and we have Marvel comic artist Adam Gorham joining us for our season finale. Not an interview; he's just joining us for the show, much like Marvel comics artist David Cutler often does, and he might be joining us next week. Actually, depends on scheduling. And also check out my co-host there, Andre's Graphic Histories podcast. He does great interviews. Like,
He does.
Dude can interview. That's why he takes point on our X-rated interviews. And I just throw weird questions at the guests sometimes. Check out Super Mater Brothers, where it's, mostly Jaemeel. I think we should probably change the name of Super Mater Brothers to, like,
It's a Super
I don't know.
Jaemeel
What do you want to call
Brothers.
it, Jaemeel? It's all you. What do you want to call it?
Look, I'm very reluctant to taking ownership of any podcast nowadays. So
Fair enough. The true currency is coming back.
I keep saying that it's coming out. It's Duke Nukem Forever. Eventually coming out.
KBBL's
Half-Life
gone.
3 of
Sorry, Sam.
podcasts.
But it's
Maybe it'll
okay.
return one
Even though
day,
KBBL is not currently going, you still have a wealth of content that you can go and
Would you call that a wealth? Is that
Yes.
a wealth?
yeah. Like you
Okay.
could literally go back and just like look. In my
Season
opinion,
1.
Disney should just repackage the DVDs with KBBL. KBBL.
In
my opinion.
I agree with that statement.
Should just do that.
You're my greatest supporter, Jaemeel. I love you. Aiming on Track. Check that out. I've been on. Murphy's been on. Jameel's going on.
Eventually.
Apparently, I'm coming on again, and I have to listen to Green Day. So I had to make sure.
Oh wow!
What
Eamon's
side
got
is-
If it's
blood
Green
out for
Day
you.
and it's not Dookie, it ain't for me.
What is he doing?
Though Dookie, fantastic.
Which one
Is
is
he
he
doing
doing again
Dookie?
for Green Day?
Insomniac.
Oh,
I
Get
don't
some
even know what one
coffee.
that was. Is that the one with Geek Stink Breath on it?
I don't even know.
Well, I don't know.
Listen,
don't
I showed
even
that
know.
kid the best album on earth. It don't matter anymore.
No, you didn't. I did. I showed him the greatest musician ever friggin' born.
Proto Men,
Robert
Act
Johnson.
2, Father of Death. Go check it out. Best album ever.
Oh, Murphy, you're so young.
Davin's just trying
So
to hold
young.
it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Trivial debates. I don't know what
Um,
the next one's gonna be.
Dave is trying to
We
figure
don't-
things out for it. So,
Yeah.
very simple premise: one guest
Who's the
host,
last one?
3 guest debaters, and they debate on a subject. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
Hilarity
Good
often
wrestling last
ensues.
time.
Yeah. Hellbound podcast.
Alec Blackburn and Michael Chan.
Michael Chan,
Yep.
a horror movie podcast.
A cross pond affair, you might call it.
Yeah.
And we also have a myriad and sundry Star Trek podcasts.
The
And
Mothership.
Long and podcasts. The Mothership
The
Connection.
blood veins of our federation.
The Funktastic. We have Locutors of Trek. It's pretty great. We did Captain's Conference there recently. Or
I
Captain's
got so
Convention.
mad. I got so mad I had to leave.
There's
I was
a lot of-
watching the
there's a lot of
support and I
cool
was-
little moments from that one. Actually, I gotta put up on TikTok.
Like, I felt like Janeway should have been an an S tier, but Dave convinced me with the fact that she just fucked off for 3 months, and, didn't talk to her crew. So, but yeah, other than that, I didn't really disagree with much. What made you
know what
angry,
I
Jaemeel?
disagree with? The fact that Data wasn't considered. Data should have been considered in that.
No, we made it clear no acting captains.
Oh, all right. Well,
Because
Did
then,
he not?
the
No,
list
didn't
got
he?
ruined.
Wasn't he raised as a captain?
No,
at
he was
some
just
point?
the acting captain of the Sutherland, and that's it. He
Yeah.
was never a captain.
Not even in a comic canon.
Look, you don't
They
want
didn't
to
really
try to
take from
convince
comic-
cousin Dave anything that's not on screen's canon. Look, I
Yeah.
tried to convince him that the Garrick novel is canon. That's not a war
Don't
I'm
talk
willing to
canon
fight.
with Dave. Dave is just
Look, he takes
Right.
canon and uniforms very seriously.
we break down dresses on Big Brother that the host wears. I didn't like this dress.
I thought it was just
No.
Star Trek uniforms he was
No.
into. Wow.
He's a fashionista, it seems.
He is. Apparently so. We have Science Division. We just did a Debate 9 all 80s version. That was awesome.
I was
Check
watching that.
out.
Was really good.
Yeah, it was. The great debates. And they're so much more polite. And we had a little chat afterward, and they're just like, yeah, we let each other finish speaking. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not how we do things. That's not how the dudes do things. We just yell at each other till Jody or Murphy tells me to shut up.
Wrap it up.
That's how we do things.
We're
Oh,
about to push
all
4
right.
hours if we don't wrap this the fuck
Are
up.
we? Holy shit. This is by
Yes.
far the longest. You know what? We're having a good time here
Yeah.
on Hold Up a Movie podcast. Check out Locutors of Trek. All right. I'm shutting her down. Final thoughts?
Check out next week's stuff.
Yeah, we got more movies coming. Listen, I want to say thank you for listening to this incredibly long podcast about heists and robberies
Agreed.
and everything in between. We had a lot of fun. As always, I hope you had a lot of fun. And as always, enjoy the movies. We'll catch you on next episode where we talk about airplanes with Michael Henry. Here go the coming attractions for that. Until then, enjoy the movies.
Well,